Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode in our Azure Data Factory series. In today's video, we are diving into a crucial topic, setting up private endpoints with the self-hosted integration runtime. You will learn how to establish secure communication with your storage accounts, ensuring your data stays protected. If you find this content valuable, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. A lot of effort goes into creating these videos and your support means the world to us. Let's get started. So this concept that we are going to discuss where we are going to utilize the private endpoints with the self-hosted integration runtime. You can use this and then you can utilize it for other resources as well. The example here, the demo basically speaks about accessing a storage account from an Azure Data Factory using the private endpoints, and this private endpoint will use the self-hosted integration runtime. Likewise, you can use other resources as well. So let's get started. So right now I'm on the Azure Data Factory Studio. I've launched the studio already. I'm on the integration runtimes, and this is the integration runtime I'll be using, which is your self-hosted integration runtime. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to the link services here. Yeah. And then what I'll do is like I will use one of the link services here, which basically utilizes the self-hosted integration runtime. In this case, I'm going to use this one. So if you can see here, this one basically tries to connect to a database called JBDB. So I'm not interested on this. I will use this one. If you see here, I'm trying to do a link to storage account, a JB ADB storage account. This is the one, and I'm utilizing an SHIR on-premise integration runtime, which is basically the naming convention that I've used, but it is an self-hosted integration runtime. Yeah. So now, if I click on test connection, the connection will be failed because if you look at the the storage account here and go to the networking, so we have cut off all the public connection. Yeah. So if you see here, I've for the public network access, I've disabled everything. So if you see here, the connection is basically failed here. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do in order to allow this link services to connect to the storage account, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to this private endpoint and then click on this private endpoint. Yeah. And then what I'm going to do is like I'm going to give it a name here. Yeah. So what I'll do is like I will give it a name as private endpoint. Um, the storage account is JB ADB storage account, and then I will put it as ADF SHIR link services. Yeah. And the network interface name is fine here. So whatever you have entered, you get it there. And the region is South India. Yeah. So let's click on resource here. And then target sub resource, I will be selecting DFS. We will talk about others later, but right now, just for this demo, let's select DFS. Yeah. Now let's click on this virtual network. And then what you need to make sure is like you need to look at the SHIR's server where you have deployed the SHIR. Yeah, so in my case, I have deployed my SHIR in a VM called SHIR1. So just to check that, what I'll do is like I will open the studio one more time, and then I will take you guys to that integration runtime, and then I will show you that node. And once we see that node, what we will do is like we will go to that particular VM on the Azure portal and then check the VNet. Yeah. And then we will give that VNet as far as this private endpoint is concerned. Yeah. So we have this here. So let's click on manage. Let's go to the integration runtime. Yeah. So this is the integration runtime, and node is SHIR1. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to the Azure portal homepage, and then I will check for this SHIR1 VM. And then if I look at the VNet here, yeah, so the VNet is SHIR1 hyphen VNet, yeah. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to this private VNet, click on this, and then I'm going to search for SHIR1 VNet here, yeah. And if you see here, I have this um, subnet as default, so I will leave this subnet here. And for the private IP address, I will leave it to dynamically allocate IP address. You can also select statically allocate IP address, but here I will leave it to dynamically allocate IP address. Yeah, let's click on next, and integrate with private DNS zone. I will leave it as yes, and let's click on tags and then click on review and create. Yeah, and then let's create it. Gonna take maybe 2 minutes, so I will pause the video right now. Yeah, and then I will uh, resume it once it completes. Okay, so the deployment completed. So let's go to the resource there. So if you see here, the private endpoint is created now. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to that storage account here, yeah, and then I will go to this networking, and then go to the private endpoint connections, and then if you see here, this is the one that we have created, yeah. And if you see here, the description is auto approved, yeah. And now when we clicked on this in the previous video, we got an no access message, yeah. But in this case, since we were the one who created this particular private endpoint, this is not a managed private endpoint because we created it and we are able to access that one as well. That we showed when I clicked on go to resource after the deployment. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to head back to our um, uh, link services. Yeah, where the connection failed, and now I'm going to click on test connection. And this time the connection is successful. Yeah, so this way we even though we made the access to the storage account more secure by uh, disabling the public network access, we were able to connect to the storage account from the ADF utilizing your self-hosted integration runtime via link services by creating a private endpoint, and this way we have made overall connection more secure. Yeah. So now let's talk about some of the advantages of using private endpoint with self-hosted integration runtime. Yeah, it's gonna enhance your security to a greater extent. Yeah, by routing traffic through a private endpoint, you ensure that data never leaves the Azure backbone, reducing the risk of exposure to public networks. Yeah, you can expect some sort of a consistent performance since traffic is routed internally within Azure's network. You often experience more consistent and reliable performance compared to public internet traffic. Yeah, and it is going to bring better compliance for organizations that must adhere to strict data privacy and compliance regulations. Using private endpoint is often a requirement. This setup helps you meet those requirements more easily. Yeah, and it is going to be a seamless integration with everything running through Azure. You benefit from tight integration with other Azure services, simplifying your overall architecture. Yeah. So in this video, we talked through the process of setting up a private endpoint with self-hosted integration runtime in the Azure Data Factory, and we first tried connecting to the storage account without a private endpoint, and we were able to see a connection failure. Then after setting up the private endpoint from the link services, we were successfully able to make a connection to the storage account. Yeah, by now you should have a clear understanding of how to secure your data transfers and ensure that your communication stays within Azure's private network. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Jai Hind.